Good morning. Word of Truth, JD Nija. Oh. Good morning, believers. Good morning, Israel. It's JD Nija, Word of Truth. Back. Bolsa Chica State Beach. Sunday the 10th, July 10th, 2022. 7:10. It's a good number. All right. Glad you joined me. We're talking about this word oracle, an utterance made or received as authoritative, wise, or infallible. So this oracle, I'm going to go into some scriptures. We were talking about how when Solomon built the temple, the most inner part of the temple, this holy of holies, this lob, your heart, your mind, where your treasures lie, this is what you speak. This is what you believe. This is what you carry with you. This is your light. This is your candle. This is what your testimony is. Testimony. Men of the Lord have testicles because they have nuts. They have testimony. They're gonna say it because they have balls to say it, and they're gonna stand up for it, even against all odds. That's where it starts getting a little more difficult, because the world's going to come against our testimony, and they're going to try and draw us into their flunky belief systems. They're going to try and fasten us to a different post. They're going to fasten us outside the temple with some bullshit, and we're not going to be able to get fitted in, even though we're already cut to fit. We got to be careful that these men don't say that cut doesn't fit there. It fits over here, and draw us into a lesser part of the temple where we don't stand up for our position in the temple. So then on the other side, this is interesting, because this whole thing about the oracle, I'm not sure, this isn't the first place it says it, but this is one of the most important places it talks about it, because this is where Yahushua, as Solomon, is getting the word from the Lord. He's remembering the word that his father spoke to him, David, King David, who is our house. And he's building this temple, and he's saying, we have something to say. The Lord has something to say. My Father has something to say. And if you can understand what's being said, you too can be part of this oracle, this authoritative, wise, infallible voice to speak, to bear, speak. You're part of the hinder part. You're pushing the train. You're coming right from the back. You're the engine in the back pushing the train forward. And nothing's going to be able to stop that. We have our heads set, bold, hard as flint. And nothing's going to be able to stop us from ramming it right home. Man, there's no power that's going to be able to stop this word, this oracle, this truth. So I just went into and he built, this is 1 Kings 6:16. He built 20 cubits on the sides of the house, both the floor, the walls, with cedar, and he even built them for it within, even for the oracle, even for the most holy place. So that's your inner. He's building us up from the inside out. The inner man is growing and the outer man is dying. And then in verse, I'll just keep reading because it just keeps talking about the oracle right here. And the house that is the temple before it was 40 cubits long. So how long did Solomon reign? 40 years. I think Josiah, one of the other kings that is an example of Yahushua, he also reigned 40 years. So this 40 cubits long, that's talking about a length of time. And the cedar of the house within it was carved with knops and open flowers. All was cedar. There was no stone seen. There's not going to be any more stony heart. We're going to be flowers. We're going to be blooming with love, blooming with respect for each other, praise and honor for our Heavenly Father and the Son. All these things are going to be like important inside that Holy of Holies, that authoritative place. There's not going to be nothing hard. It's a fleshy, loving place, right? There was no stone seen, and the oracle he prepared in the house within to set there the ark of the covenant of the Lord. And so oracle down there, it's the same word, debir, that utterance, that authoritative word he put in the Holy of Holies. And that's what he's putting in our hearts right now. There's some of us that are not going to be able to be taken out of their spot. And the sooner you get to that spot, like my buddy Jay Hall's saying, we need to get to that spot and start being the peace that we are, and stop thinking that, oh, we're a whole corner over here, we're GMS, or we're a whole corner over here, we're Sakari, or we're a whole corner over here, we're the Baptist Church, or we're a whole corner over here, we're the Roman Catholic Church. You know what? If you're not one man standing on your testimony with two balls, then you're a pussy. You're fucking shit up. Because one man to one man is face to face believing the same thing, and there's no one coming against you going, what are you saying? I don't understand. We should all be able to understand what the Bible's saying. Each man, you don't need to go to another man. We need to all know at least what we know. And if you don't know, shut the fuck up. All this Salakia, all this nonsense talk out here is enough to drive a guy crazy. I'm gonna go into what it says at the bottom about the Lord and Solomon. It's 6:11 through 13. I read it. Since it is recorded that the Lord appeared personally only 3 times to Solomon, these words probably came to Solomon by a prophet. So that's the same idea. We need prophecy. This guy did the same thing. He just has to get in those lines. He could have, man, people are so brainwashed into just having to do it by the way Esau tells them. It's sickening. We own this place, not anyone, dude. You can park closer to me. Now there's a big gap right here where, anyway. I started a whole thing and I can't admit it. It's my fault. I should have stayed in the lines. So this prophecy, this oracle, this word came to him from another man. That's what I was saying. That's interesting. I was just saying that, and then I looked down here and the Lord said, read him this part, because this is what you're saying. Since it is recorded that the Lord appeared personally only 3 times to Solomon in 3:5, 9:2, and 11:11. I'm not sure what book that's in. Maybe Kings. I don't know. These words probably came to Solomon by a prophet. And that's what I was just saying. Even Yahushua had a prophet speaking the words of the Lord to him. That's the point that this oracle is this word oracle is bringing forth. We need to understand that each man can get a word from the Lord through this book, and if it's true and it's right, even Solomon, even Yahushua needs to listen, because it's authoritative. It's the oracle. It's beyond anyone fleshy on this earth. This is coming straight from the Spirit. This is the Holy Spirit. The oracle, basically, I just realized that the oracle is basically the Holy Spirit. I knew we would get to the bottom of this word oracle. Debir, it's the hinder part. It's the part that no one's looking at. It's like, isn't that the butt? No, that's but you better listen. So the kids are here. Change windows, roll this one up, roll that one down. And then in verse, and the oracle he prepared in the house within to set there the ark of the covenant of the Lord. So what is he setting up, this ark? That's the mercy seat, the ark of the covenant. That's where the power lies, in the truth, in the word. The two cherubims are over the mercy seat, just like where Yahushua was laid in the sepulcher after he was put on the cross, and then he was in the sepulcher, and they came, who was it, Mary and Mary Magdalene, they came in, they saw the two angels standing over him, and that's the representation of this Ark of the Covenant. It's the mercy seat with the angels covering their eyes, covering their feet, and flying with two wings over the seat. I don't know how many of you have seen that representation of the Ark of the Covenant. It's a beautiful piece of furniture, but it's supposed to be a representation of this testimony, this testimony of our risen Lord, like we were going into yesterday, where he was berating the 11 that were still sitting at meat with him, saying, why didn't you believe the men that told you I had risen? And I went into it. I got cut off yesterday because someone called me and the message didn't get completely sussed out, because I didn't download that video, because it was about 7 or 8 minutes in the middle where I was just talking, but there was no sound because I was talking on the phone. But I was saying how, like, it feels to me like me and Jay Hall seen Yahushua risen. We were carrying something. We seen him. We're like, hey, is that dude? The one that they put on the cross, the one they call the King of the Jews? That we heard all those stories that he was healing people. And even though we might have just been in Jerusalem doing our thing, but we heard all these stories, and we'd go to temple and we'd hear, but we could never really see until he got put on the cross. And we're like, we could see him from a distance, and we're like, wow, that's the guy that did all that stuff. And then we knew that he got put on the cross, and then a few days later we're going back to our business and we see him walking around. We're like, isn't that him? And we drop our bag, whatever we're doing, our cart, we abandon our cart, we go chasing after this apparition, this glorified Christ, Yahushua, walking around, showing himself to people, going, see, I told you I was going to rise again. And we're like, whoa. And we turn the corner and we see him again. We're like, that's him. And then he disappears, or he walks into the crowd, and we're like, where'd he go? But we're witness to that. We're like, and then we go tell the 11, or we go tell other people, we're like, we seen him, man, he did rise. And the 11 didn't believe it. And Yahushua saying, why don't you believe a man's word? Why do you think anyone could be lying? We have no lies in this truth. This truth is the truth. Not this truth could be any truth. the truth is the way and the life in the way. So back to the oracle, that's how we all fit together, by being the truth, by knowing the truth, by standing testimony. We got balls to say, no, the truth. He is the truth. What is he saying to us? Because he is the truth. And so we have to all understand that he rose. He's God. He came through God. And that's where, man, that Joseph doctrine is just doesn't fit the story. It has no glory. It has no power. It has no authority. It can't be just Joseph. Joseph had the authority to be Yahushai's earthly father. He's not God. And that's what I was talking about earlier, how the oracle, these things have to fit together. The beauty of the story is that it has to be bigger. We have to make the story that it has to be the biggest, most amazing glory story. Why would you chop your feet off? Hard to run with no feet. So I'm going to get back to what I was saying, because I don't want to go way off. This is probably going to be a 3-parter, because this oracle thing is deep. So verse 20, 1 Kings, it says it again. Oracle, oracle, oracle. It's saying you're building the temple. This oracle, this authoritative utterance, this word is very important. So in verse 20 it says, and the oracle in the forepart was 20 cubits in length, and 20 cubits in breadth, and 20 cubits in height, and it overlaid with pure gold, and so covered the altar, which was of cedar. It is perfectly fit. So Solomon overlaid the house within with pure gold, and he made a partition by the chains of the gold before the oracle, and he overlaid it with gold. This is the gold, right? Let me read that again. The house overlaid with gold. The most precious metal. We are that gold. We are that precious, precious overlay, where we lay over everything through this reconciliation back to the Father through Solomon, through Yahushai. He built it perfectly. It's going to be built perfectly, and we need to realize that. Like my brother Jay Hall's saying, let's break it down to where the issues are. And he did that really good in his last video. He's saying, this is how it should be. This is how it should be. And he stood by his testimony. I could feel it in his voice. And he's trying to do it with love. He's throwing away all those power tools, going, no, boys, this stuff's supposed to fit together perfectly. Very simple. It shouldn't be difficult, right? And that was a beautiful message, brother. I can hear your spirit, man. It's that oracle. It's that, I'm getting chicken skin. The house overlaid with gold. I'm going to read 1 Kings 6, 21 and 22 again, because it's awesome. So Solomon overlaid the house within with pure gold, and he made a partition by the chains of gold before the oracle. And he overlaid it with pure gold, and the whole house he overlaid with gold until he had finished all the house. Also the whole altar that was by the oracle he overlaid with gold. He overlaid the gold with the gold in the house of the oracle of the house of gold. He overlaid with gold in the house of the temple of the gold of the Lord of the house of the temple of the oracle of the house of the gold. Right? So Solomon overlaid the house within with pure gold, and he made a partition by the chains of gold before the oracle, and he overlaid it with gold. And the whole house he overlaid with gold until he had finished all the house. Also, the whole altar that was by the oracle he overlaid with gold. And within the oracle he made 2 cherubims of olive tree, each 10 cubits high. This is the mercy seat, right? The cherubims, and this is where it talks about the Ark of the Covenant. And within the oracle he made 2 cherubims, the 2 angels standing on each side of olive tree, each 10 cubits high, and 5 cubits was the one wing of the cherub, and 5 cubits the other wing of the cherub. From the uttermost part of the one wing unto the uttermost part of it were 10 cubits, and the other cherub was 10 cubits. Both the cherubs were of one measure and one size. And the height of one cherub was 10 cubits, and so was it of the other cherub. They were perfectly matched on each side of this furniture, this seat, mercy seat. And he set the cherubims within the inner house, and they stretched forth the wings of the cherubim, so that the wing of the one touched the one wall, and the wing of the other cherub touched the other wall, and their wings touched one another in the midst of the house. And he overlaid the cherubims with gold. What's he saying? He's saying the gold, these angels were all of that same oracle. We're all of gold. We're all overlaid with gold. We're all the same. We're angels. We're men. We're all in one, because he's overlaying it all with gold. Angels, men, believers. It's all going to be precious. We're all precious in his sight. He wants none to fail. He doesn't want to lose any. So when you hear these men talking down on the Lord's creation just because they're naive and they don't know the Lord, and they're mixed up in their system, that's a clue for us to go, that could be me. That could have been me. Thank God it's not. But are we going to say, well, being it's not me, I don't care about them? No. That's not how an oracle speaks. An oracle does not speak in any way against the truth. What if you were outside the temple? Would you want to know that just because you were ignorant and stupid and naive that you were going to get punished and hurt? You didn't get it. The Lord didn't give it to you. Does that mean that he doesn't love you? No, he's making an example of what it means to all speak the same. We will all speak the same. We all will be overlaid with gold. And there'll be some that we know that we're naive and ignorant, that didn't hear this authoritative promise, this treasured word. Some of us just aren't going to hear it. And the goal is to be like Yahushua and say, you know what? Verily, verily, it's going to be what it's going to be. I don't hate you. I'm just saying, I'm speaking with authority, telling you either you're going to get it or you're not. Now, but you will get it in the end. I'll be back. I'm coming back to straighten everything out, for sure. Just know that the sooner you get it on this side, and the further you go down the right path, the better. And that's why we speak these words, hoping that someone's going to hear the authoritative word of truth, speak love, and to speak charity, and to speak forgiveness, and to speak generosity, and to speak understanding. This word, this oracle, infallible. So let's see what else it says about, if he says anything more about the oracle right here. He's like pretty much saying, dang me. All right, I'm done with this part. So we're going to go to some other scriptures and see what it says. Samuel interested me. I'm like, what does it say in, gosh darn it, I didn't get whether it was 2nd or 1 Samuel. Let me see if I can find it. I didn't write it down right. 16:23, Salakia. I'll be back. We'll look at some of the scriptures with this word oracle in it and see if we can dip in a little bit deeper and see what this infallible authoritative word is carving us out to, so we'll fit into each other correctly. Word of Truth, JD Niger. I'll be right back.